Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. I am Chelsea Michaela, and this is going to be a video about things that are different between my first pregnancy with my first son compared to my second pregnancy so far. With my first son, I was really nauseous, to the point that sometimes I was laying in bed crying and I didn't want to eat anything, and, it never really went away. Nothing soothed my nausea. No ginger, no mint, hot chocolate a little bit did, but that was about it. And for the most part, my second pregnancy, that has been the same. The big difference though, is that with my first, I didn't really throw up at all. I want to say I probably threw up around 5 to 8 times max, and most of those times were actually in the first few weeks of my second trimester, not even in the first trimester. Where with this pregnancy, and I want to say within a 3-month period, I threw up at least 50 times. It wasn't as bad on the weekends because I didn't have to work, and so I was able to relax and I wasn't around food because I work in food service. But during the weekdays, yeah, you'd know I would be throwing up at least once a day, and it sucked very bad. And I thought for a while that maybe the reason I was so sick is because I was pregnant with a girl, because of the old wives' tale, of, oh, well, if you're more nauseous, then it's a girl, you're less nauseous with a boy. Well, I found out recently that I'm having another boy, so I debunked that one, at least for me. So the second thing I want to talk about was weight gain. So my weight gain this pregnancy has been vastly different from my first pregnancy, and there is a reason, and I'll explain that. But pretty much, just to give you an idea, by the time I went in for my first appointment at around 11 weeks with my first pregnancy, I had already gained about 6 pounds. Where this time I hadn't gained weight at all. And they actually started to get concerned as I was getting farther along, because I want to say around 16 weeks I lost a pound, and they were like, dude, you need to start eating like milkshakes and french fries and everything that you possibly can just to try to gain weight. And I was like, okay, sure. And I totally took advantage of that. And I kind of regret it now, because now I have to take my glucose test the 2 days after Christmas, and the milkshakes have definitely caused me to crave non-stop sugar, and I'm actually trying to cleanse my body of sugar right now. Even though I'm kind of failing every day, I'm not eating as much as I would have been if I hadn't made the decision to not eat sugar. But anyway, that's not the point. I didn't start gaining weight until the second trimester, around 19 weeks. And now my weight gain's kind of like picked back up to around where it was my last pregnancy. And I actually found out that the reason that my weight gain wasn't very strong this time is because I was still breastfeeding my son. So, fun fact, guys, in case you didn't know, when you breastfeed, you burn between 200 to 600 calories a day just from producing milk. I pretty much was eating all the time, because I was eating like fast food a lot, but I wasn't gaining anything, and that was because of the breastfeeding. So the next one I want to talk about that is different from my first pregnancy is back pain. And I did kind of expect this, because my doctor warned me when I first went in. He said, okay, so good news is, for your first, compared to your first pregnancy, labor and delivery is going to be much easier this time. But the bad news is you are going to be in a lot more pain. You're going to have more back pain, your legs are going to cramp more. And I was like, great. And so far he has been right. I want to say I first started experiencing back pain around 10 weeks this time, where, with my first pregnancy, it wasn't for a while. My doctor explained to me that it was because the baby sits lower in the uterus, which causes you to lean forward more, which can cause more pain, like in the shoulder area, which sometimes I don't even realize my shoulders are sore until my husband starts to rub them, and then I'm like, wow, they're really sore. I guess I'm just so used to it at this point. I also read that it's because the joints loosen more quickly around, and when your joints start to expand preparing for pregnancy, of course, that's what causes a lot of the body aches and pains that you experience. So since your body is like, oh, you're pregnant, and it knows what's going on, it starts to do it early, which causes the back pain to kick in earlier. And so then that brings me to point number 4, which is kind of related to the whole uterus expanding in your body, knowing what it's doing thing. And that is my belly growing. Just to give you an idea, I'll go ahead and throw up an image of me. I want to say it was around 11 weeks, 15 weeks. I don't know. I'll put it up here. Actually, no, I have it in my weeks. Oh yeah. Okay, so my last pregnancy, this is what I looked like at 15 weeks, and with my current pregnancy, I was just as big at 19 weeks. And just to show you that it was not fat, let me throw in an image of my stomach before I got pregnant, and that's right here. Again, I said I didn't gain any weight, so you know that that is legit just baby bump showing. But the reason for my stomach getting bigger faster is, again, because my uterus is expanding quicker. It knows there's a baby, so it made room for it quicker, which caused me to show faster. I imagine it's kind of like a balloon, you know, when you blow it up and then release it in the air, it's easier to blow up the second and third time compared to the first time. Now my stomach's around the same size as it was at 24 weeks last time, this time, but it definitely, I showed quicker. All right, the fifth one I want to talk about, this one's a little more serious, and this is pregnancy mood swings. So with my first, I don't remember really having mood swings besides the occasional like crying because someone ate the rest of the ice cream, or crying over seeing a cute dog or cat on the internet. My husband would disagree. He'd say that in my first pregnancy, I definitely was more emotional and had like differences in personality with emotion compared to when I was not pregnant. But this one, and I think he would agree with this, has definitely been a lot worse. And that's because this pregnancy I've been experiencing from something that I'm just gonna assume is some kind of pregnancy depression. I don't want to come out and say it straight out because I haven't been diagnosed, but all I can tell you is I wake up in the morning some days and it's totally out of the blue. Nothing triggers it. I mean, things can trigger it, but some days I wake up and I'm just super sad and everything sucks and I hate myself and I hate everything and I just cry all day. And then some days I wake up and I don't feel anything. I'm not feeling joy. I'm not feeling sorrow, but I do feel like down. And I don't smile except for like little tiny glimpses of happiness that my son brings into me just from being around him. Besides that, it's like pretty much flat, close to nothing. And then some days I am just irrationally angry. I wake up and I'm just pissed, and not at anything, not at anyone, maybe a little at myself sometimes, but for something that I don't know what, and I'm just furious and I can just feel my blood boiling. Luckily though, I'm really good at controlling my anger for the most part. So like it hasn't affected me as a mom. I think besides I've snapped at my son twice and I cried both times. I felt so bad and I can't wait till I'm not pregnant anymore because I don't like being this way. And it wasn't an issue beforehand. So it's definitely a side of pregnancy that I'm not enjoying this time. I mean, I guess I didn't enjoy the crying last time, but it made for funny stories where this time it's a lot more serious. When I feel these ways, sometimes nothing fixes it except going back to bed and sleeping for a couple more hours, at least 3, because I can't just take a 30-minute nap and wake up and be okay. It just doesn't work. One of the reasons that I haven't like gone in and tried to get diagnosed for it is because it hasn't gotten bad enough to the point where I feel like I want to hurt myself or anybody, or I don't have any suicidal thoughts. It's nothing like that, but it is extreme emotions that do affect me from day to day, and I hate it. All right, so then that moves me on to my last one, which, I'm sorry, it's a little TMI, but I think if you're watching this, we're probably all adults here, and that is my libido. I'm gonna try really hard to say this right, because I've said it libido my whole life, and my husband always makes fun of me for it, but it is pronounced libido, and I'm going to probably struggle this conversation. I'll keep it short. Pretty much with my last pregnancy, my libido disappeared. I had literally no interest in that side of passion with my husband. It just pretty much vanished. And this time, I haven't leaned one way or another. Usually when you're pregnant, people talk about how either your libido. Usually when you're pregnant, people talk about how your libido either picks up and like gets super strong or it vanishes like it did with mine, where this time it literally didn't change at all from before I was pregnant to to me being pregnant now. It's been stagnant, exactly the same the entire time. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much everything. I hope I can edit this in a way that's decent. I am so bad at recording things sometimes. But yeah, so that was 6 different things that were different from my first pregnancy compared to my current pregnancy. And I'm going to make another video about similarities, the things that are pretty much exactly the same. So if you want to see that one, just keep a lookout. It will be up in a week because I'm going to record it next. So thanks so much for watching, guys. We appreciate the views, and if you like this video, please subscribe, leave a comment down below, talk to me about anything that's different between your first to your second pregnancy or your second to your third. Let's discuss this in the comments. Yeah, so thanks guys, have a wonderful day.